Hello, everybody, and welcome to Storytelling, Philosophy, and Reception. Today we have Laura Jenkinson-Brown, who is a classical civilization and literature teacher in the UK, teaching ancient history and ancient Greek and Roman culture to secondary school pupils, which she shares with many other schools and homeschoolers. She's more known for Greek Myth Comix, an illustration project she started over a decade ago, using stick figures to illustrate concepts and literature from the ancient Mediterranean world. She has been the recipient of the Innovative Pedagogy Award from the Classical Association and the Working Classicists Creative Classicist Award. Most recently, she's become the author of You Are Odysseus, an interactive Odyssey retelling that allows the reader to take on the character of Odysseus, make and examine his choices, and see what alternatives might have been in store had he not been this same complicated man. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you, Bettina. And it's so lovely to finally chat in person.
I know, right? Oh my gosh, like we've been we've been chatting with each other online social media stuff, but not ever like, "Hi, how are you doing?" So
Yeah.
excited. So this is lovely, and I'm sorry that I missed you when I was in England in November, but I will come
No,
back, so it'll happen. We will have tea sometime and chat and
I
do
love that. It's just yeah, England looks really tiny, and then you get here, and then there's one train, and everywhere is suddenly 4 hours away.
Yeah, yeah.
Such a
So
shame.
totally understandable, and of course, just schedules. Everybody has busy lives. So please open up your book and let's do an adventure. I mean, I love this book. I've done adventures with my kids, with my students. So pick one for me, and I will make.
Pick one. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I do have the list of all the correct sections. So the
Okay.
whole Odyssey is in here because I've been
Yeah.
recording myself narrating it as an audiobook with just the main stories and then keeping in the choices so people go, wait, he does what? Um, and I do like to try book 9 with people because it's so famous. Well, particularly the Cyclops section, which of course is a bit of a bone of contention now the films come out, which I still haven't seen, by the way,
Oh my
because
gosh.
I was really ill last week when I had my ticket and I was going to go with my colleagues. So I was dead on the sofa. So I still haven't seen it because then we went on holiday and then my husband's
Oh,
been ill.
okay. Okay.
So
So
all I've done is avoid as many reviews as possible,
okay.
which is impossible because that's literally my entire social media feed. Uh,
So let me know
so,
if want me to make sure I don't do any spoilers whatsoever. No
oh no,
spoilers,
it's
right? No.
okay. It's
No,
okay.
okay,
I'm
sure.
sure
Okay.
I can
Okay.
probably get the word right. Okay, I
All
read
right.
my handwriting now.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. I think we're gonna start.
Now, since I know these books pretty gosh darn well, having studied them so carefully, I will choose a fun adventure for myself.
Oh, you're gonna die.
Okay, I will. I want to hear how I
No,
die.
you might. Okay, so
Okay, let's see.
so you're on Goat Island, which no one ever remembers existing.
Okay.
Do
I
you
don't
remember?
remember. You're right. I don't remember that. I know.
Oh, so
Okay.
as soon as rose-fingered dawn appears, the men wake. You call the whole fleet to an assembly. The crews stand around in groups with their captains at their head. Cheerful chatter gives way to expectant silence as they wait for you to speak. What will you say? So you tell them you want to explore the other island you saw last night. You could find wealth or inhabitants to give you guest gifts, and you will win more Kleos this way. Or you tell them that you will continue your journey.
I want to get more Kleos and gifts.
That is correct. That is what Odysseus would do. So,
Oh,
right.
darn. I don't want to do what Odysseus wants to do. Let's do
But
the other.
that is what every ancient hero would do, though,
Oh,
because
yes.
the kudos that you would get, I've forgotten the number already, the kudos that you would get from collecting gifts and meeting new people and making guest gifts is going to add up to your kleos, your legendary status, the song of you. The Odyssey itself is the kind of the kleos of Odysseus because we still sing about him, and especially in your case, all the time. So, my friends, you say to your men. Stay here while I take my ship to that further island to establish whether there might be savages there or God-fearing and hospitable people. The gathered crews are happy to stay and rest further while you take your ship's crew off to explore. You call your own crew to you, and soon they are striking the surf with their oars, as excited as you. Your enthusiasm is infectious. As you near the mainland, you see a cave near the sea, overhung with laurel. Getting closer, you see a wall made of quarried stone surrounding the cave, enclosing it and several tall pine trees and a spreading oak. You land the ship on a beach well past this cave, a tiny cove well sheltered by cliffs, and you pick out 12 of your best crewmen to accompany you to the cave. You also select a guest gift to repay your potential host for their potential hospitality. You choose either a solid silver mixing bowl. This is a fine gift for any civilized host to receive. Or a goat skin of unmixed wine, the regular vintage drunk by you and the soldiers. This is a sociable gift, if a poor one, but one appropriate to a cave dweller, the drinking of which will surely improve any first meeting. Or a goat skin of the unmixed wine, the dark, sweet, and strong vintage you got from the priest Maron of Ismarus when you sacked the Cocones, if you sacked the Cocones, and a bag of food, apparently appropriately rich gifts to a cave dweller, and one which will certainly lift the mood with the wine's scent alone. So which will you choose?
Okay.
Did you
I,
sack the Cocones or did you leave them alone?
I know the correct one, so I'm gonna pick the incorrect one because it's fun. So I'm going to pick the social bag wine.
Okay, so you'll have to remember that the social bag of wine, and let's
It's like the
see.
box wine.
Yeah, you brought the box wine. He lives in a cave. It'll be fine, right? Okay. Oh, no, wrong button. I should have put my glasses on instead of leaving them somewhere in my house. You wouldn't think I had three pairs. Right. You and your 12 chosen men take your chosen guest gift with you, and soon you're at the mouth of the cave. A cursory inspection suggests no one is home. Curiously, you enter the cave. You are shocked to discover baskets full of cheeses, well-made vessels full of milk and whey, and pens full of young animals, lambs and goat kids, all organized by group and age. Clearly, a shepherd lives here, and a successful one at that. Your men excitedly beg you to allow them to take some of the cheeses back to the ship, then come back and herd the animals back too. So you would either decide that that is a great idea. You help them select the finest of the cheeses, and between you all, you herd the animals you have chosen back the way you came. Or that is theft. You shall not take the risk of angering Zeus, the god of guests, by stealing from your unknown host. You shall stay and wait for the cave's owner and see whether you can get some guest gifts in return for your offerings. Are you a thief, Bettina?
I'm a thief.
You're a thief. Okay, so hmm, you're going to break Xenia now. You hope you know that, right? But is anyone there to know that you broke Xenia? I put too many pages in this book. Right, where are we? Okay. Right. So you are a thief. The rest of your ship's crews are surprised to see you return so soon, but they are pleased to see the spoils with which you have returned, and they ask no questions. Soon the lambs and kids and cheeses are all loaded onto your ship, and you make the quick journey back to the rest of your fleet on the island of goats, where, as before, you make sure everyone has their fair share of the brief adventure's booty. All of your men are so happy that they again vote to give you extra animals in thanks. Soon it is time to head off again. Where to? Onwards to Ithaca, you continue your journey. Or, that was too easy. A niggling feeling in the back of your mind wishes you could go back and change your choice.
Hmm. I want to go to Ithaca. I'm curious now if like is Zeus gonna strike me down because I broke the laws of Zeus?
Well, this is it. One of the things that's really interesting point to jump off from that is If you commit a crime and there is no one there to see the crime, who will they blame? Now, they could throw a curse into the ether, curse whoever has stolen my gifts, as we know people did in the ancient world, in any case, let alone if they were a one-eyed giant. But I thought I'd play with the idea there that when he goes to the Cyclops cave, he chooses not to thieve, and he thinks that it would be better to sit and wait. And they eat the cheese that they would assume the host is going to give them. And Odysseus, because he is delivering this narrative to the Phaeacians, he does say, even though it would have been better if I had just stolen the animals, but we didn't do that. And so then he tells his story. And they assume Xenia from their host, and their host, when he arrives, turns out not to be a follower of Xenia. They are the Cyclopes. They care not for the gods, says Polyphemus. His own father is a god, so he has this elevated status, or so he thinks. And then when he eats Odysseus's men, which is definitely not the right way to treat your guests, Odysseus has to retaliate by saving his men, and he does so not by killing Polyphemus, because then they can't get out, because we are told very specifically that only a 24-wheel chariot, no, 24 four-wheel chariot, I can't remember the numbers, would be able to pull open this boulder. It's a really massive boulder, and he really specifies how massive it is. They wouldn't be able to get out, and they would die a very slow, dull death, which is one of the options if you do decide that you are going to try and kill him. So they blind him so that he is no longer a threat. He sits in the doorway trying to make sure they can't escape. And then the bit that, again, no one ever does like exactly the same as in Homer. He ties each of his men under three sheep. It's always never three sheep in the film versions or in the other retellings. It's just one. But it's three. It's really clever. It's there under the middle one, so that if he touches the backs or the sides of the other two sheep, he won't find the man in the middle. It's really clever. So they ride out, and he's stuck under the ram. And there's a moment where Polyphemus says, "Oh, my poor ram, why are you late? Oh, I bet that guy is annoying you that he hurt my eye." And then he gets out. He's, "Oh, thank goodness." So we had that lovely dramatic irony where Odysseus was right there. And it's only when he's back on the ship with his men and they're sailing away, having silently got onto the ship and started rowing, that he shouts out twice to get the Cyclops' attention. And the first time he shouts out and gets almost hit by a rock. And the second time he shouts out, he says, "Here's my name and address, because I want the kudos for this. No one's going to know
Name and
that
address.
I'm the one who blinded you. Otherwise, it's all for nothing then. We've lost six men. No one's going to hear about it." So he gives him his essentially his name of address. "I am Odysseus. I'm from Ithaca." And he even slights the gods in a way by saying, I wish I was as certain as killing you as I am that Poseidon will never heal your eye." And so that is why then the Cyclops is able to ask his father, so someone with a vested interest in him and his honor, to basically harry Odysseus. And Poseidon agrees to, because it's his son, and the gods only ever really do things when they feel like it. Not just because you've done the right honors and you've done the right sacrifices, but only if they have a vested interest in this in the first place. So I thought, well, if no one knows, you can just go. He's got some sheep. Cyclops is going to be like, "Oh no, someone stole my sheep. What do I do?"
That's the thing,
Nothing
like,
bad for him in this.
and the gods are not all knowing necessarily and not omniscient necessarily. They are not omnipotent either, because each one has a specific power. Um, sort of. It's
Yeah.
because Homer plays around with that a bit. You're like, "Oh, wait, hang on, what?" Like, "Oh, I didn't know that she does that." Like, Homer brings up certain things, like in the Iliad, you don't realize that Hera was a war goddess, but she's, in the chariot with Athena, and she's like, "Hop on, let's go," and off they go, and
They
they're
all
working.
get so involved.
Things like that, like that you don't realize that they're doing. Um, so it's always kind of surprising, like what powers the gods have, but it seems like it's fairly specific to certain things. Like they can't do things, or they won't do certain things, and
That's it, isn't it? Who's going to get involved?
where I often tell my students in a very tongue-in-cheek meta sort of way that Homer seems to be a Titan worshiper rather than an Olympian worshiper, because the hero of the Iliad is a Titaness, and Leto is a Titaness, and her children, um, Artemis and Apollo are always in Pergamum, like not they're in Pergamon. They're not ever on the Greek side of things. They're on the Trojan side of things. So it's almost like all the mean things that Homer has to say are cutting down on Greek Olympian gods, and
Mhm.
not the Titan gods, not the older Titan gods. So it's something to think about. If you see it from that, you can't unsee it. You go, oh, how interesting. It's like, yeah, Apollo is always who is culturally a Greek god is never a Greek god in the Iliad, like ever. He's never on the Greek side. And Artemis is beat up by Athena, who's like the Greek goddess, and she goes, running to her mommy, saying, "Oh my gosh, look what happened!" And then off she goes to Pergamon. I mean, that's in the Iliad, In the Odyssey, um, the gods are doing different things, but it starts with a party in Ethiopia. I mean, we don't see it, but we hear about it, right? Like, where's everybody? Oh, they're partying over there.
Yeah. Whereas Poseidon, oh, he's not here. Brilliant. I can hatch my plans.
Yeah, yeah. So some interesting stuff. Well,
Well, I do love that because the I feel like the Olympians are far more approachable and more human-like
they're
and have far more
human-like.
foibles than the Titans, who are a bit like holy and powerful. And then it's
Yes.
like the Olympians spend too much time around humanity, really.
Maybe that's his thought. Homer's thought is like, how do I make this tale into something fun and interesting? The gods have to be human-like enough with foibles and reflect us in some way so that we can poke fun at them. Otherwise, if we're always just praying and they're just doing things that are scary and we can't take them
Mm.
down, or they can't connect with us in that way, then so in the Iliad and Odyssey, Apollo doesn't have any children that is a weakness of some sort, right? Whereas we have the in the Iliad and Odyssey, uh, Aphrodite is a child of Zeus. Now in Theogony, she's something else, but here, she is Dione and Zeus's child, and Hermes. Uh, um, I can't remember where it says it, but anyway, Odysseus is always Diogenes, so he is Zeus born, and I can't remember if it's actually said that he's from Hermes somehow, the blood of Hermes himself, or that's in some other thing, but it's
His
mentioned that.
father sorry, his father's father. I'm sure it's his grandfather, isn't it? Ortilochus
What about his
is the
grandfather?
son of Hermes.
Okay, so is it said in the Odyssey somewhere over
Yeah.
there? Okay, so there we go. So if he's the great grandson of Hermes, then his great great grandpa is Zeus. So we always get that. So
Yeah.
there's a direct connection there, and so therefore he's got his weaknesses. But Achilles, who's the child of a Titan, has no weaknesses like that in the Odyssey and the Iliad. The him being, in the sticks getting dipped, that's not in the Odyssey or Iliad. I don't know where that's from, but it's not from there. So we don't know how he's killed. It doesn't even say how Achilles is killed. It's the through the
Yeah.
ankles thing. That's not in the Odyssey and the Iliad. So like these things that people think they know and think are in there, it's not in there.
Well,
Uh,
is it in the rest of the Cypria? The Cypria, sorry, the rest of the epic cycle?
It
I'm
might be
trying
in
to
Epic
remember.
Cycles. I haven't dug very much there. I love
Yeah.
Cypria. I've sung
Well,
Cypria's
oh, sorry.
songs. Yeah, I've sung Cypria's songs, not in this album, but it's like it's an upcoming Epic Cycles album, and
Well, that would be
and
exciting.
and that's where we get the why is Zeus even starting a war thing, because he was because to make people lighter, lighten up the load, and that's in the Cypria.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
But
think it's in the Aethiopis that Achilles is killed by Paris's arrow. So after the Iliad and then before the Little Iliad.
oh, okay. So now I'm gonna have to look at the
Well,
Ethiopian.
I didn't know enough about it, so of course I made a comic about it. So I've made a really simple version. Oh, sorry, it's on my phone, which you probably can't see at all now. Never mind, I'll send you the link.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's the entire epic cycle condensed into one sheet of A4.
Oh, that is lovely. Yes, please send to me. That's wonderful. Um, and I love what you said, like when you don't know much about it, then you write about it. And it's like that's the same driving force when I first, crazily enough, had done book one Iliad a day because I'm like, everybody always talks about like singing the Iliad. And let's be serious about it. Let's try it. Let's try this. Archeo musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try it as an experiment. And wow, that was one heck of a journey to do that. I was like, I can do Iliad a day. I can do like 50 lines a day. No, no, really, that was harder than I thought to do for many reasons. And so I have many thoughts about all that having done it. So like once you walk through it, then you've learned some stuff and you figured out things. And when I was saying like I'll do Odyssey a day, soon enough at some point, and I don't know when that's going to be, but like I have my thoughts and feelings about that too. But it's mostly like let's do it just so like you can all feel what you have wished for. Here it is. Let's see how you feel about that. But like really what I want to do now is like Iliad Book Two, the catalog of ships, and then like the catalog of women, like the heroines and stuff. Those are the things like I want to do, and I think I give myself the grace to say, okay, I did say Odyssey a day, but you know what? Guess what? I'm not going to do Odyssey one straight across like I did with the Iliad because that was like taxing. So maybe I'll jump around, and in like 3 years I'll have done all the Odyssey, and I'll go back to the Iliad and do that next
Well,
year.
that's the lovely thing. You're the boss of you. If
Yeah.
I finished every project I started, I would be a lot older right now. But I would love to go back and finish. There's lots of bits I feel like I've left undone because they were an idea and I just didn't have the time to work on that idea at that moment. And even with the Odyssey, I've drawn all of the books that we study at GCSE, so that the main qualification in the UK. I've drawn all of those, but I haven't drawn all the other books. And I would really like to do that. But then also, I started drawing them like 12 years ago, and I they're not very good. If I can say that. They're a bit scratchy and rubbish because I was drawing on a tiny sketch pad, like scanning it with my phone and then trying to edit it. And I'm a lot better now. So I'd quite like to go back and redraw all the early chapters as well, and then fill in the blanks. But it's kind of a full-time job really because the Odyssey is brilliant and so long, like you're saying. So it's quite nice to just skip around and pick the bits that are kind of relevant now, or I could do something with now. But then, oh, the epic cycle quickly. Let's research the hell out of that and make an entire comic about it.
Oh
That
my
was a
gosh.
treat. I did that one for my birthday.
Oh, I would really love the epic cycle as from your artistic whatever
Thank you.
innovation it's gonna be fun, and hopefully you like my Kypria songs and some other things in there as I delve in. Have you had a chance to listen to my Odyssey songs by any?
I've listened to quite a few of them,
Oh, good.
not like solidly staring and listening, because I've always listened to your work, especially when
Oh,
I was writing. So when I wrote my book, it was very much, it started in 2019 and I finally published it last year. And I made myself a playlist while I was working on different sections, and there'd always be a bit of Bettina
oh,
breaking up
thank
the
you.
sections. So some modern songs that I felt kind of suited the mood, and then something real and proper and researched as well, which is so exciting. And it's certainly something. At the moment, I'm on summer holiday looking after my 6-year-old, so we don't get to listen to a lot of my music. But I have had a listen, and it's always so rousing and arresting straight away.
Oh, thank
And you
you.
just sink into it. And I'm looking forward
Oh
to
gosh.
listening.
Oh, that means so much to me.
Oh,
Thank you. Which we sometimes we have favorites one day and then like another day. Like,
yeah.
what's your favorite today? to listen to?
Well, my favorite one that is sort of pride of place on my playlist is Odysseus and Ithaca. That one with
That's the one you
it just
advertised with your book. Oh
I
my
I
gosh.
did. It was just it. I mean, I know I've picked one that doesn't have as much singing in it, but it. Oh, I've just turned it on. That was the wrong thing to do. Scroll 24542 was the one that I had because it was my He's Got Home song, and now we're in the real way. It's just so real. But I also have earlier on to sort of to separate out the first part of it, Circean chanting is absolutely wonderful because you really do get that sense of this mysterious woman and the mysterious island that he's on, and the first time he meets a woman of great power in the story, and I really love that one.
Thank you. That one is so special to me because I did two versions of that. One was an English version and the ancient Greek version, and I didn't include the English version on this album compilation, whereas I did for the previous one for Athanatos. I did do the English version for that one as well. That one is special to me because it was. I had just recently seen or re-seen or something the Bernadette Peters playing Circe in the 1990s version, a two-part miniseries of on the Odyssey, and I loved her version because Bernadette Peters is a um, major Broadway star in the
Oh, it comes across so much in the film, doesn't it?
yeah in the 1970s. Have you seen that one?
Wait, which one are we talking about there?
The one with Armand Assante.
Oh, the 90, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
yeah.
She has such presence. And I
Curly, curly
remember
hair,
seeing it.
right? Gorgeous woman.
Oh my goodness. I honestly thought, wait, is she a pop star that I didn't know about? And when I first saw that with my students, and they've given her this crazy mashup Egyptian palace, and the way she speaks, and she just has you my kingdom. And
Yes,
it's like she's a female version of Tim Curry. I love her.
yes.
She's great.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's it. You know, such a oh, it's a diva, such a diva.
Yes.
Yeah, so I love that. And I did give her like a softer but also wily when she's singing. So first, gotta have the voice because that's the voice draws in the men, right? They heard a woman singing, and so they came in and they said it's like a sweet voice, and so they come in. So I had to get that like sweet voice to draw somebody in, and she's weaving. She's not playing the lyre, but the weaving thing, with the fingers. I always think like I want so badly for the women in the Odyssey or the Iliad to like put down their shut their spinning and their weaving for a moment and then pick up a lyre just like play for themselves, play for their companions, their servants, if or just themselves for a moment. And I just so the sound of the lyre, just a simple thing to accompany her voice. Strings to me are so magical. Like you pluck you pluck a string, you know, and it's just this is my
It's beautiful.
yeah, this is one of them, but this is my travel one. This is the one that fits everywhere rather than the bigger ones that I have. So I mean, just wow. I mean, it transports me, so I just like let my fingers do whatever. And on such days when I'm just letting my fingers do whatever, I go, "Oh, I like that." And before the thought is lost, I immediately turn on my phone notes and just play it again because I just played it. Because otherwise, it's lost, it's gone forever. Because it's just my fingers doing it, and my fingers are being moved by the gods. And sometimes I'm just singing melodies, and I go, "Oh." I like that. I have to record it, and it was in like one of those times, and I'd have to go back in time and look at my diaries, like what was going on in that period of my life that that particular melody came up for that tune, and but it did, and that's what I ended up singing. And it's there are only three songs that are not in dactylic hexameter: Siren's Call, Circe Enchanting, and Penelope Lamenting. Those are the only three not in dactylic hexameter out of 12. Um, and I am asked all the time, like, oh, why didn't you sing in dactylic hexameter? Well, I didn't feel like that was how best to express it that day at the time when I recorded it. If you ask me, can I sing it in dactylic hexameter still using the same melody? Actually, yeah, I can, because that's just a matter of stretching the timing or compressing the timing, but still having the same melody, same, thing. I can do that. I can do that with a Siren's Call. I can do. But that for me was how I heard it in my head at the time that day. And music is such a subjective thing, such an emotional thing. It can be. Also a thinking thing. As you're thinking, you can be thinking while music is playing and emotion is going on, and it's together. Because this is you. This is you. You're a thinking, feeling creature, and so it will never be the same performance when I play somewhere, and I would change a couple of little things and add some little trills, some little flourishes in either in my voice or in my instrument. It's always a different performance, just like people.
Like the original rhapsodes would
That's
have
right.
very
That's right.
likely done.
Yeah, and just like how humans really function. And I believe actors are actually the same way. When they go, cut, do that scene again, it's always a little bit different. It's not, they're not robots. It's not the same exact thing. It's always going to be just a teeny tiny bit different. What I love about your book is that it gives us a chance to explore and just have fun and go, yeah, all right, today. And I love the way you write too, might I say. You have a very fun, sensory way of writing. It makes it come alive in a very different sort of way. So yeah, I like the way you write.
Well, there were obviously a lot of credit to Homer because I was trying to emulate the style of the poet as much as I could. But then when the bits wherein it goes off the Odyssey, it's like, no, it's mine now. I can include aspects of that, but then I can also, like you say, I do want you to feel like you are there. And sometimes the sections that we really are, that we remember really vividly, are actually really, really short, and there's not a lot of detail. Like the Sirens is, dare I say it, a paragraph almost or a verse compared to the huge amount of detail that's in it. So it's quite nice to expand on that too. But
Yeah,
there are bits in it that I wrote and I read them back and I actually make myself cry. And I think that's a good thing,
sounds
not a
like a good thing.
self-indulgent thing.
Yeah.
But there's a bit where Odysseus and Telemachus get to spend the afternoon together. And he's revealed himself to Telemachus and they're in Eumaeus's hut. But the story then follows Eumaeus to the palace and what he does. And we never get to hear what Odysseus and Telemachus are talking about. So I got to write that day, and that day always makes me cry because Odysseus is catching up on the last 20 years of his kid's life, and the life hasn't been so great. And then there's also, if you mess up entirely, there's a mini Greek tragedy written in verse in the middle of it. And I've not met anyone yet who's actually got to it naturally without looking for it. But I was
Yeah,
quite
I
proud of that.
haven't gotten to it naturally. I have to say, like, oh,
You have to mess up really badly. You have to come home very, very late indeed, and
oh,
then make the choice where, in a sort of a tragic hero style, you are the cause of the deaths of Telemachus and Penelope, and you realize this. So it all takes all stages of the tragedy take place over about 5 pages,
oh,
and the
so
chorus
great.
is the chorus of the 12 maids who were quite pleased with the outcome. But I was quite pleased with writing that. It was a really fun exercise, like you're saying, to create something in verse that echoes these stories and try and do it justice a little bit of Euripides in there as well.
Now, with for translating, I mean, because when you're saying that you're emulating Homer, are you translating it yourself, or is
I'm
there a
not.
no?
So I got to come to classics in a very roundabout way, in that I went to a state school in England, and for students who were excelling, which is rather nice, we got offered to do Latin. And so I got to do Latin as an additional subject. So we had to do it before school and after school and at lunch times. But then from Latin, I decided for sixth form I wanted to do classics, which I'd never even considered was a thing. I used to go to the British Museum a lot because it was free. As a kid, we used to walk around there a lot, go to all the museums in the middle of London were free. So it was a cheap day out. And I spent a lot of time hanging out in the Egyptian galleries because there was a mummy called Ginger and I have red hair. And so we were friends. And I don't
I
know how
know
I feel
that
about that
mummy. I
now.
know Ginger. Yeah, I'm not
I'm too
personally, but
scared to go in
yes.
case it's different, and it's not the same whenever I go up to the galleries now. And it's weird now. I was friends with a poor dead person whose remains were on display. I still don't know how I feel about that, but then I got to do classical civilization as an A level, and so it essentially is tasters of ancient Greek culture and Roman culture, and I very much preferred the Greek culture. And we got to read some tragedies, and we got to learn just the general gist of what life might have been like for certain levels of society, because it's such an enormous subject. And this is only a school qualification, so you can't do everything. And that's the beauty of classics. Realize you can specialize in anything and not be an expert in absolutely everything, but know a little bit about absolutely everything, which is what I do now. And then I went on to do it at university, although I mostly did English at university, so with classics as an additional thing. And then I accidentally ended up teaching it. And so I've now taught it for 20 years. 20 years this September, actually. And so that was actually probably my first experience of the Iliad and the Odyssey was teaching it. And I was aware of the stories and the artwork that went with the stories, but I'd never sat down and read the text because weirdly they were not required reading on my university course or the parts of it that I got to do next to the English. So I never really got to do Greek. I got to do a week's summer school in Greek at King's when I was about 16, and you can't do Greek in a week. And there wasn't really any no, and this was rather a long time ago. So there wasn't you couldn't just sit down with the internet and learn it yourself. I sat down with a book and I didn't really get very far. And I was terrible at Latin because also no one had taught us how to do English grammar. In the 80s, they didn't teach that in schools. It was far too bourgeois. So I didn't know what a verb was until I was about 18 and I'd done done a GCSE in Latin guessing the verb. I'm very good at common sense, it turns out. And I'm much better at it now, obviously. But no, so Greek is something every year I say, this year I will learn ancient Greek. And I've learned a lot more modern Greek than I have of ancient Greek. I can just about recognize it. So I sadly did not translate this myself. But what I did do is I read about 8 different translations. And I have a really fantastic little collection of Odysseys. I think my oldest is 1875, which as my who was that one? I think that's Butler and no, not Butler. He's 1900. I've got Butler as well, but I've got a very modern copy of his. And I think my latest one is the Emily Wilson. I must get the Mendelssohn one. And so I would read and I would sit down and I would compare the same section that I wanted to write in the second person, and I would compare it across all of these different translations just to make sure I was getting the detail I needed and understanding it completely, because not all of the translations are as easy to understand as each other. I always fall back on Evie Rue because that was the one that I taught with first. In fact, my copy is falling apart. I'm going to rebind it myself. I'm very excited, little project over the summer. And that's the one I always go back to. And it's prose, so it's not poetry, but I think it gives a really good account of the text. And it leaves in a lot of the repetitive nature elements, which I found fascinating, the epithets, the formulae. I think they're my favorite things about the text because they remind you of its oral heritage. And I tried to include some of those in the book too. And so it always, day always comes up in the same way, rose-fingered dawn and so forth, and just try and make sure that you still feel a little bit Homeric as you're reading this version. So
Maybe
yes, so I didn't translate it myself, but I paid deference to a lot of translators.
maybe that's why I like your writing because it has the rhythms of poetry, but it's still clear. And yeah, so that particular combination. So it's because you've selected from many different possibilities of certain words and certain adjective combinations and verbs. And it is really something whenever people talk about translations, it's a vision. Someone has to have a vision, a concept of a character when they are selecting the words to translate it as. You can't just go into it blindly. I know that when I try to translate something myself, I don't translate it in poetry at all. That's not how my brain thinks in translation. It thinks in prose. But I'd open up the dictionary and look at all the possibilities. But I don't look at all the possibilities. I have a specific thing I'm trying to look for, like which is the one that means clever, which is like that one. And Joel Christensen, one of my favorite people and authors and scholars. Where is he? The many-minded man, right over here. That's how he translates, that particular word that everybody's like polymaths. But yeah, I mean, he is a many-blanked man, like three different adjectives that are like unique to him being those things, which means there's always something about Odysseus that's not straightforward. That's not a certain straight path sort of way.
No, he
Uh,
picks the right thing for that moment in time, what it's
mhm.
going to get him, and mostly him as the outcome.
Yeah, and you select that word, whatever it is, and you could leave it as many blanked uh, Odysseus. But whatever it is, it's a many somethinged, which
Mm.
and even complicated comes from the words meaning uh, um, twining many times together. So when people criticize that as a translation, a complicated man, I'm like, oh, well, I mean, many plexed, braided up, twined man, if that's what the word is that you're comparing it to, or just yeah, any many
I think
weight,
it's
many mind.
almost these days we use complicated as an insult rather than a definition of someone.
Oh,
And
that's
maybe that's it. Maybe they're like, well, I wouldn't want to be called that, and I like to be like Odysseus, so I don't like it.
maybe that's the knee-jerk response to the word he's a
Mm.
complicated man
I
then.
feel like there are a lot of knee-jerk responses to Odysseus and the Odyssey from a lot of people, especially at the moment.
There is. I like the term many-minded man, just as in like, oh, a man of many minds, a man of many whatevers. Uh, I wouldn't mind being called a many-minded woman. That seems interesting to me. So again, like what is it we associate with things? I'd be so interested to know your reaction to the Odyssey once you do see it and how you
I
feel
will.
about
I've had
it.
so many people ask, have you seen it yet? And what did you think? It's like, no, maybe I just shouldn't.
Well,
Maybe I just shouldn't.
you want to ask me what I thought of it?
Do I dare ask you okay, what did you think of it?
So one of the things that one should know about me when my opinion is being asked is uh, there are always different answers I will give according to who my audience is.
Many-minded Bettina. See, I think that is exactly it. That's what Odysseus does. He has a different lie for every person he meets. He's in disguise for every audience. I think that is exactly the same thing.
There are many different lives and different worlds in which I live, and I have to function differently for
Mhm.
each one. And when am I completely myself is probably with my very best friends. And, so, but even when I was with my very best friends and we went to watch the movie, and one is an art historian and one is not, she's not at all like in classics world or anything whatsoever. We saw it together. I went in there for the companionship and to have fun. So I went in there with that in mind. I had hopes. I had hopes. Uh, those hopes were immediately dashed within, the first 5 minutes. So I already knew, put that aside, put those
Mhm.
hopes away, and just enjoy the movie as it is. And
Ah, it's a
so
different film.
I think when I enjoyed the movie as it was, knowing that it's a particular vision of a very, um, praised storyteller, that, uh, okay, he had a, a, a very particular tale to tell, and that's his story. And my friend really, really liked it. Like she really liked it. She wanted to watch it again. And I thought, okay, well, that says a lot about her and how, you know, and it's really interesting. Like when you watch a movie with someone and they like it, it says a lot about that person. And then you talk about it and you go, what'd you like about it and stuff. And it's fun to talk about that. And then my friends asked me, what was different? And I go, oh, so much. So many things were different. What did I like and what didn't I like about it? Well, okay, so like I hope that these things were there, which were not. Um, I was hoping for those things, but since they're not there, I'm not gonna try to twist it and make it like, he should have done this, he should have done that. Like, no, like if those things were there, that would be a different movie for many reasons. I can instead say, oh, I did like the 1990s version for these reasons that was not there, and what have you. So there are, as a cinema, it's an extraordinary experience. Whether you would want to see it again, and with whom you would see it again, and what you were expecting out of it. Those are different things. How's that?
That was very diplomatically answered. And
Okay,
in fact,
yeah.
you said more about the 1997 version than you did about this one. So,
So I will say that I like the 1997 version because it has a lot more elements of Homer's Odyssey in it.
yes.
So as
Even though it
such,
doesn't have the sirens, or I think the Lystrogonians, actually, thinking
that
about it.
they go past the sirens, and but there is like a little bit of music that you hear.
Yeah, but it's not
A
it's
bit
not in it. Oh, we used to watch that one and play Odyssey bingo. So I'd like, right, so we're going to study these. We used to just do the narrative sections. And I say, right, so here are the main beats of the narrative sections. There's like 3 episodes in each book. Weird, weirder, weirdest. Each one. And then so we're like, so what have we got today, children? No. So we're
But
like,
the
no
sirens
sirens.
were there though. I mean, but not visually. They were not visually
Yeah.
there. But he does go past the sirens. But in the Odyssey book, the sirens were not visually there either. They were just orally there, right?
Well, he does see the bones on the shore. So you would assume he could see
In the
some
night
of the
in the
things, I
90s
think.
one,
Oh
he
no, no, in the text, I'm just
oh
thinking,
oh
sorry.
oh oh oh, okay.
And but no, there's lots that that film does really
Wait.
well.
In the text, he doesn't see the bones. Cersei tells him what will happen if he goes.
Oh,
If you
that's it.
go,
It's in her description. Yes,
yes,
sorry,
it's
I'm
in her
conflating
description.
the two. Because that's another bit we don't often get is her telling him what to do. Because why would you in a modern retelling, why would you say that twice? Because then you're just repeating yourself. Although then you miss out that whole section where Cersei's like, no, you're not listening. You can't kill her. You just can't just kill Skillet. All right, just shut up and listen. And giving him the options of doing the bit that Jason did. And he's like, no, I'm going to do the bit that Jason didn't do because Jason did that. So like, I'm going to do something else. But I suppose that's another thing. You wouldn't need to do that in a film because you're going to show that happening. But I think that's sort of sad. Then you lose that bit of Cersei's characterization. And I know you can't ever include everything. I know that's the case. Unless you made a really, really long series, which I would be very happy
I
with if
would
they
love
kept
a long
doing it.
series that
Who
has
wouldn't love a
colors.
long series?
What would I love?
Colors, colors. Oh my God. See now that I know there's no color
Colors.
in the film, and I've known that since the very first picture.
Yeah.
And the sadness I felt on seeing that image of Matt Damon. I was like, oh, calm down, lads. There's zero effort going in here, so just don't get excited. And that was like 2 years ago or something. And yeah, and then the next teaser poster had a white statue on it, a white classical statue on it. Let's just perpetuate all the stereotypes, shall we? With boring armor from some retelling circa when they didn't have archaeologists, and a white unpainted statue from a completely different period of time that bears no resemblance to anything from the time period or actually anything from the ancient world because they would have all been painted. So I think I made my peace early with the idea that I was not going to enjoy this film as much as perhaps I would have if there had been other choices. But I still had this hope that like once the film got going, I had this idea that in The Wizard of Oz, and she lands and then she opens the door and her world goes into Technicolor. I was so convinced that because we'd only been seeing these tiny little bits of no color. This is before the big trailer came out and ruined everything, ruined my idea. And because we'd only seen that and we'd only seen snapshots of like Troy, I thought, right, the real world is going to be that color. And then the supernatural world is going to be dizzyingly beautiful and bright and everything's going to be shiny. I believe that not to be the case now.
Talking about Troy, I love Troy, the movie, because it was colorful.
It was so colorful. I mean,
And
it made up so
there
much.
was food, you're like, oh, yummy food. Okay, and colorful stuff.
Seen
And
the food
yeah,
in
in the
Greece.
feast scene in Troy, the very,
No, I
very,
mean in the new one, oh my God, really?
oh,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Oops, spoiler.
No, 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 it's fine. I just that's a weird thing not to
Yummy
include
food.
food.
Yeah, there's no yummy food.
Mm.
That was
I
part
like
of,
yummy food, and
yeah,
Greece is famous for its yummy food. I feel like they missed a
yes.
trick.
The things that I think of when I think of Greece, yummy food, colorful, always colorful plate, uh, colorful, gorgeous, gorgeous scenery that I walk into and I can smell all the flowers and everything. And everywhere I go, there's music playing, music, lots of different instruments. Guess what are the things that are not there?
I think I might have seen. Is there no liar in this film?
No
I
liar in
don't
the.
understand. How is there no liar? I mean, I know they've cut out the Phaeacian, so that's one bard gone right there, and he's the best one. And I'm guessing there is a bard in Ithaca.
There is a bard who has no instrument.
Oh, okay.
Spoken word with a lot of thumping, like beat, So spoken word, rhythm, no instrument.
Right.
Uh, yeah,
Okay.
soundtrack has Aulos. I know that the soundtrack has a lyre, but it's so buried in there you do not hear it. So
Oh.
even soundtrack wise, the lyre doesn't pop out at you, and certainly it's not anywhere in the movie. No musical instruments are in the movie.
I heard that they weren't the chap who did the music wasn't allowed to use an orchestra, but the only part of the music I've heard is in the trailer and that one bit that people keep using on Instagram videos, and that sounds orchestral. So I'm confused now. It's also really, really boring. It's just
So Callum
tone, exciting, epic tone, and that's it. And I was like,
Callum
well, that's
Armstrong does use, the aulos, and
yeah.
that shows up over and over again. Da,
Oh, is that an gosh, really? I
it's an
would not
aulos.
have thought that was an aulos. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
I made myself like a really big version of my Odyssey bingo from what I would want. And I didn't think to put instruments on it because I thought, well, that's
that's
obvious,
obvious, right?
right? I didn't even think to put what does the music sound like because that's obvious and because
Because that's
it's a
obvious.
story and there are self-insert characters in it who are Homeric and bards, and there's at least three. So I'm annoyed now. I've got to edit it because I can put a cross through it. Oh, how disappointing. I'm so sorry. Because you must have found that particularly aggrieving.
I was like disappointed with that one. At yeah. So so yeah, yes, I was right. I can only wish that that someone will have another vision of the Homeric world. Like I would love if my friend Madeline Miller Sorcy were in Netflix as a mini series and with lots of colors.
I would honestly be surprised if we don't get that. And
At this
I
point.
made a comic after I my friend Liv, who does Myths Baby, who you know as well. She texted me after she'd been to see it. In fact, she sent me a voice note and she was so upset. And she was like, "The women, Laura, there are no women in this film." And so I sat down and I made a list of every single woman in the Odyssey, and I made a comic of that too, listing every single female character, including some of the monsters who are generally female, or at least were females at some point. There's a lot. And it's one of the most viewed and liked things I've posted in a really long time. I think it's about to hit 100,000 views on that one comic on just Instagram. I haven't actually put it on my main website yet. The fact that it has been so popular, I think, is really heartening and reassuring as well,
Yeah.
because uh, uh, it was lovely seeing all those curtain calls of fabulous, well, they're four fabulous ladies and thing, and then you realize they're the only ones in it.
And also that their roles were completely undercut.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
changed
And
entirely. I
changed
think Helen is a
entirely.
very different character altogether, which is
Helen of Sparta was completely a different character, not whereas like when I sing her in my Odyssey and Iliad album, it's she's the one prophesying. It's taken straight from the book in
yeah.
Odyssey 15. She's the one who tells Telemachus where his daddy is. Like the whole time he's like, "Hello, hi. Do you know where my daddy is? Hello, hi. Have you seen him?" Hello. And she's like, "Let me tell you. Hear me. Listen to me. He
Mm.
is coming home, or he's already home, and he's avenging everyone." Like flat out answers the question. He didn't even have to go to Hades for it. Whereas
And there's
he
like,
had to.
here's a great story from when your dad like mutilated himself and snuck into Troy, and I knew it was him, and we had a moment. And
Right.
her storytelling is great, and then her organization of the household, and then her dealing with the emotions of the men because they're so emotional. She has to help them get through it with her drugs,
That's right. Which
and
she learned from
um,
Egypt.
she
Like
did.
the
My
little.
favorite bit of writing this, I have to say, was the one, I think it was summer 2 years ago, where I thought, okay, what if Odysseus went with Menelaus? What, because Menelaus loves him so much. They are best buddies. At least Menelaus thinks they are best buddies. And I like to think of it as a slightly one-sided relationship there. But what if he went with Menelaus? What if he was talked into doing that? And he ends up third wheeling round the Nile with Menelaus and Helen is not particularly pleased about it. And then he's left babysitting their entire fleet. I had the best time writing that, but also because I got to write Helen as more of a character and at least have her present and doing things, and also got another bit of Euripides in there as well. Spoilers. But I thought that was a great character. And she's even though she's only in really one book, she is so vivid and
She's in two
everything you would
books,
expect. Is she in two books? I can't remember if she was in book.
four
Is
and
it going to
15.
book four? And oh, I always forget that bit of 15 when he's coming home. Because I'm working on You Are Telemachus and You Are Penelope. So because I've mostly been dealing with just the bits that Odysseus is in, specifically for the last 6 years, I'm getting a bit rusty on the other sections. So I'm going to have to sit down now. And the whole point of this originally was to do You Are Odysseus, You Are Telemachus, You Are Penelope, all in the same book. But then this happened, and I thought, well, It'll be a trilogy with much smaller books
And
next to this
thank
one.
goodness it is that, like, as big as it is. I would love that you are Telemachus, and you will come across the Helen then twice, and yeah,
And
Helen.
the great bit that no one ever gets to, where I forget his friend's name, or he picks up a hitchhiker, and then they're best buds, and they go home, and I love that bit. And I remember, like, originally taught certain books, there were bits like I went home and read, and I was less familiar with it. Wow, I've never heard of this bit where he makes a friend. Telemachus makes a friend on his way home. He gives the guy a lift, essentially. I thought that was wonderful, and I can't wait to put that bit in.
Oh my gosh.
Theoclymenus, there we go.
Okay, I forgot about him. So thank you for, again,
Yeah.
it's so interesting. Like, yeah, no, I know this inside out, but it's like whenever I think I know something inside out, really what it means is I know the parts that I was focusing on for whatever reason, inside out, but the bits that are not important because it's so dense, really, are not in my head. Like, it just never registered. So it's fun. It's always fun seeing retellings that are well researched, and like yours are, and it's just absolutely lovely. So we're gonna end there. I think it's delightful to talk to you. I mean, the
Oh,
hour passed like this. I know that we can. When you and I hang out someday, it's gonna be like that, where we'll just be like hanging out here and then hanging out there, and the conversation's gonna just go and flow, and ideas are gonna flow. You inspire me, and
oh,
hopefully I've inspired you with stuff,
absolutely.
and
I
it's
hope there's a flavor of your music coming through and you read it. I hope you hear it back at certain moments, because it's definitely
oh,
there.
oh, thank you for saying that. Well, now I won't feel like I'm just projecting myself in there. I'll be like, oh,
No, no, that's definitely there, Bettina.
yay. Okay, now I can really say it to my students. Look, if you feel like there's some musical background going on, it is, there is there. So,
Even better, they should listen to you while they read it. So really,
oh,
that's the important
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel, and I know we're going to have many other conversations in real life or later on. And I would love to have you as a guest for our conference, for instance, coming up, California Classical Association
Oh, wow,
South
that would be
Conference.
wonderful.
So we'll be in contact with each other. So thank you so much, and we'll say goodbye for now, and see you around. See you
And
next
thank you so much for having me on this very, very warm evening.
You're so
Let's do
welcome.
another one in the winter.
Yes, yes. See you, Laura.
Bye.